On this week's show, Leanne Hainsby shares her cancer diagnosis, and Tunde will be teaching more strength classes.
Plus, Peloton held their quarterly earnings call. Guided Scenic row classes are here, and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and John Pruitt.
Welcome to episode 115 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm Amanda Siegel, and I'm joined by my co-host, John Pruitt. Hey, John.
Hey, Amanda. How's it going?
Good. Nice to see you. Another week. I don't know where these weeks fly by. It's almost insane how quickly they go by, right?
I know. We're in February now. Hopefully, the winters, maybe we have 2 months left. I don't know. I heard that the groundhog saw his shadow this past week, so that means more winter, but I don't know if you want to buy into that or not.
I'm not buying into it.
I feel like we're 2 more months at most of this cold.
No. I am definitely not buying into that. Although I have to say, I'm not complaining. I'm down in Miami. The weather is beautiful. I can't complain. We've had a good week. It's been a beautiful week. Not a great weekend, but a beautiful week. Otherwise just busy and quite a week this week was. So I guess before we get started with the news, we always do like to remind you how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Chris Giles puts a lot of work into making sure that those graphics look beautiful if you choose to watch it on YouTube. But if you do, just go to the right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button to make sure that you never miss an episode.
Yes, and if you want to listen to us, we are on all podcast platforms. Search Pelo Buddy TV. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already and ring that bell for notifications so you never miss an update or an episode. And please leave us a review. We love reading those great 5-star reviews that we receive from you. And we also love the feedback too on ways we can add and improve on the show. So keep those coming.
All right. And finally, folks, we, of course, are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Just search for Pelo Buddy and follow us on those platforms for all of the latest news. And now, John, let's get on with the show.
All right.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
Last week, the Peloton community were shocked and in disbelief when we heard the news that Leanne Hainsby, that sparkly queen, had in fact been battling a breast cancer diagnosis. So Leanne publicly announced this on social media, sharing her journey. She was first diagnosed back in August of 2022, just 2 days before her best friend Danielle Hampton's funeral, and has begun undergoing treatment over the last few months. She went through 12 weeks of chemotherapy after her and Ben shared that they had completed a round of IVF, preserving her fertility. Leanne chose to come out with this news as she believed that there was a very important lesson that she could pass on to the community, and that it is always trust your gut. Leanne, who is only 35, shares that when she first found a lump in her breast, she was told that everything was okay. But her gut told her otherwise, and she chose to get a second opinion, which ultimately has saved her life. So she shares her entire journey on her Instagram page. So definitely make sure you take a look if you haven't yet. She shares how she continued to show up for the members because that was what was going to get her through. She shares how she would do her live Wednesday morning classes and then have her mum, the incredible Sue Hainsby, pick her up and take her to her chemotherapy treatment. She also shared and has a picture in her Instagram of the cold caps that she used in lieu of losing her hair. This has become something very frequent for women going through chemotherapy more recently, where one can actually freeze the follicles of your hair while you're doing the chemotherapy treatment, and therefore not lose the hair. So hence why us not noticing that Leanne, had lost her hair. So it is a grueling process, and I've had a very good friend that has actually been through the process herself just this past year and said that it actually was worse than the chemotherapy itself. The cold cap process is pretty grueling. She said that there are three main things, John, that she wants to get out from sharing her story. And they are: one, to raise awareness. She says, I'm young for breast cancer at 35. I went to a doctor the same morning I found the lump, and I was told everything was okay. I trusted my gut and got a second opinion, and that saved my life. Check, check, and check again. Number two, she says, when the time is right, it is important to me to be of service to those going through treatment and those supporting someone going through treatment. However big or small, it is important for me to give back. And number three, she says, I've been dealt some cards that have changed my life forever, and somehow I've kept moving forward. If I can motivate or just inspire just one person to either keep going in their journey or to get themselves checked, then sharing something so very personal will be worth it. Of course, folks, social media has been flooded with messages of love and support from both Leanne's fellow Peloton instructors as well as the entire community. It was pretty remarkable to see how the community immediately jumped in with swarm rides and hashtags being created in support of Leanne. Members could ride with the hashtag We Ride for Leanne, with the first swarm ride being orchestrated by Mums of Peloton, Melissa Ferrara, last Sunday morning. Where over 1,000 members jumped on the ride, which was Leanne's Encore 80s ride from January the 6th. That was her first ride back in the studio in the new year. This past Wednesday, Leanne was part of the Nile Rodgers Artist Series, which John will talk about in a minute, and the community all came together with over 8,000 folks joining both on the bike and on the app in solidarity. A pink Yes to You crew thumbnail was created that members could use if they wished. Leanne looked absolutely stunning in an orange sequin, sparkly top and pink leggings, and referred to herself as a tutti frutti candy that so many of us remember. And it was absolutely magical seeing Leanne with all of her glitter and sparkle after having endured so much. So huge shout out, to Leanne, certainly from us here at Pelo Buddy, in thanking her for being so vulnerable, her complete authenticity and, just genuine care of the community was seen in how she came out, because she is an incredibly private person. We've seen that, over the course of getting to know her in the last 4.5 years. So that was a big one. It was a really big one for her to come out, and good for her, and doing it whilst in the midst of it all. I mean, John, I stood next to her, and I'm going to get teary, but I stood next to her in October when she was in the thick of what she was going through. And never in a million years would I have ever have imagined that this woman was going through something that was this extensive and this, traumatic in a sense. There's no question. And, she had that smile on her face. And I remember saying to her, I had made the decision to change my dates and go at a different time. And she looked at me in my face and she said to me, you know what, Amanda? You have to do what's right for you. Never, ever do anything for anybody else, because you never know what's around the corner. And all those things, came back to me now that I know what she was going through. So I mean, it's been no secret if you've been a regular of the show and have watched over the last, couple of years that we've been, giving this to you. She is always been very special to me. I've had a lovely relationship with her over the years. And for me, it was pretty shocking and heartbreaking, but I know she's going to be okay. She already looks like, she's doing amazing, and huge kudos. She's my superhero, and it proves why she is. She is a superhero.
Yeah, and it's amazing that she just continued to work throughout it all and put on such a brave face, not letting on everything that was going on. So I'm sure, I guess, to her, maybe Peloton was a great distraction to continue to show up and
100%
show up for the members, just as everyone's showing up for her now. And it sounds like she indicated that she's on the other side of it. So it seems, I don't know if she has the all clear.
Right. And I was worried to say something because I know that Barry McCarthy alluded to in the earnings call, which we'll talk about, he alluded to the fact that she's cancer free. It's so personal. I would never go out and ask her, and I've left it as is. I would never invade her space from that perspective. But if she is fantastic, and, maybe she just needs radiotherapy now, etc. But yeah, from what it tends to be, it tends to be that she is, at least on the other side of that aspect of it in needing surgery or anything like that. So, but it's huge. I mean, that was, pretty, again, I say it again, I stood next to her and would never have had, and in fact, I was chatting with my buddy, Jen Carter, and Jen said, "Oh, Amanda, when I knew you were going, I was so anxious that she wasn't going to be okay, or she wasn't going to be there." And of course, what I love about it is how her privacy was kept. And, they limited it to very few people that knew what she was going through, to the point that I don't even think some of the instructors knew what was going on. I think she kept it very private and very confidential while she was going through everything, and just her, immediate circle in the studio knew. But other than that, because it's so easy that something can slip. And I guess she didn't want anyone, and she said she didn't want anyone to stand next to her and feel sorry for her. She wanted to have gotten beyond it and be there for the members. And that's the selflessness of Leanne Hainsby. Bottom line. Yeah. I mean, that's just who Leanne is. She is so selfless, in that she didn't want to make the members' experience in being in the studio anything to do about her. She wanted it to be about, their experience in being in the studio, etc. So what an unbelievable story. And we're so pleased and grateful. Obviously Ben's been an amazing support to her. He went on to share his own, accolades of her, of how proud he was of how she had come, on the other side of his social media. They're a sweetheart couple. Everybody just adores, Leanne and Ben. So it's beautiful to see, really beautiful to see.
Yeah. Well, shifting gears a little bit, we have an update with Tunde now launching across the full Peloton strength platform. So on February 18th, Tunde will teach a live 20-minute strength class at 8 a.m. Eastern, February 18th. So that means so normally Tunde's only taught upper body workouts, arms, light weights. She'll also teach full body. So lower body, glutes, legs, core, even HIIT cardio. I know a lot of folks are excited, including myself, because she is one of the hardest, at least with arms workouts, one of the hardest instructors that teach those. So though it's not officially announced or labeled that way, it'll most likely be, now it is. Okay, thank you. Control room. The February 18th, that will be her premiere class as a full strength instructor. Full body strength, thank you. She first stepped onto the strength mat back in May of 2022 for the launch of her Arms with Tunde program. That was the first time that she taught a strength class other than the arms and light weights class type, which is normally filmed, by cycling instructors on a Peloton bike. And you're limited to the 1, 2, or 3 pound weights. But back in August of last year, she had begun regularly teaching live strength classes. Even those even though those workouts were limited to an upper body focus still. But that will be a great addition to the strength platform to have her on there doing those full workouts.
Yeah, I mean, that is going to make a lot of people very, very happy having her on there, no question. But she is hard, so
yeah.
So I mean, you and I still go back and forth about how we have to get into our strength. So maybe this will be a good thing for you.
They should be fun though, because I know there's still a huge hole to fill with the loss of Daniel, because he was tough, but he made it a lot of fun. So I hope. She brings a great humor and personality to it. So I know they'll still be fun yet difficult.
That's amazing. I'm really excited for her. I mean, she's grown so much on the platform since she started, which has been so fantastic to see. So that's really awesome for her. All right. Well, some very exciting news this past week. German tread instructor Marcel Maurer shared on Instagram that he has gotten engaged. And it was very fitting that I was the one to report the news today on the show, because he proposed to his fiancée in my very own hometown of Cape Town, South Africa. Marcel is on holiday in the most magnificent Atlantic seaboard region. And of course, we wish him a huge congratulations. So I had seen him post something with Lion's Head in the background, and he's obviously staying in the Sea Point region, somewhere around there. And again, it's where I grew up, and it was so exciting. And I messaged him, and this was the day before he announced his engagement. And I said, "Oh my God, you're like in my hometown!" And then, of course, the next day he proposed to her on Clifton Beach, where I have, frequented.
You partied
my whole
many
life.
a times.
Many a time. So it was very exciting. And I can't remember if I shared on the show last week, but I am actually headed to South Africa in 2 weeks. So I will be there for 2 weeks, and we'll be at all the same spots that Marcel was at. So really, really excited for him, and a huge congratulations. So that's awesome.
Are you staying with family there, or are you hoteling it, or?
No, we're actually Airbnb-ing it. We don't have any family left. So I'm taking my parents back. My parents have not been back since pre-COVID. And they used to go back every year. This time of year is summer, so the seasons are reversed. So it's, being southern region.
It's just like Australia.
It's exactly. So it's the summer. It's gorgeous. February is a beautiful month to be there. And I have not been back. It's probably going on 6 years. It'll be 6 years this year. April will be 6 years. So I'm really excited to go back. And my parents kind of wanted to put closure to their life. I mean, they've lived in the States for 30 years, but they would go back every year. So it'll be it's just me, my sister, and them that are going to go back for 2 weeks. I'm really excited. Great. Yeah.
While we're on engagement, wedding related topics, Matt Wilpers, he got married over this weekend. We'll obviously have I'm sure there'll be pictures posted throughout the weekend and shared on social media by some of the Peloton folks and instructors that are there, that were in attendance. But most likely he just posted on social media before the wedding that he was in Nicaragua. So it sounds like the wedding is somewhere in Nicaragua, which is one of his favorite locations to surf. So next week's episode, we'll have hopefully more info and a recap of the event, and hopefully we'll see some fun shenanigans and postings on instructors' Instagram stories over this past weekend.
Yeah, very exciting. There was that slew of weddings, remember, like at some point last year, and now, or the year
Selena's.
Before,
Selena's, there was a lot of fun content from that, especially when Daniel had to teach the very next morning. And he showed up to a strength class in pre-show wearing sunglasses. And he's like, "You didn't think I was going to make it? Of course I was going to make it."
And he was there.
So hopefully we should see some fun stuff.
It'll be fun to see. Fun to see. Awesome. Yeah. Well, on Wednesday morning, the 1st of February, just this past Wednesday, Peloton did release their fiscal year Q2 2023 earnings data and reported a greater than expected revenue of $792.7 million. Analysts had expected this to be around $710 million. So this did result, however, in an overall net loss of $335.4 million. It does seem, though, that Peloton's CEO Barry McCarthy is quite optimistic on what's to come, saying that this was by far Peloton's best quarterly performance in the 12 months that he's been there. So that was really cool to see. He also shared that if this past year has been about restructuring Peloton's business and stabilizing its financial performance, then most certainly the next 12 months will be about capturing the moment to restore Peloton's growth as they lean into the future of connected fitness. In the letter that was released to the shareholders, it did state, though, that Peloton still has access to over $1 billion worth of cash reserves. It was stated that Peloton expects to drop in hardware sales in the next quarter. However, they did share that they continue to derive more revenue from subscriptions. So while the majority of the call was focused on revenue and numbers, they did take a moment to point out that they do have goals to fix some pain points for members, saying the following. To our members, I would like to say that notwithstanding our progress this year, we know we still have issues to fix, particularly in last mile delivery and member support. And I commit to you, we are working hard to fix them both. So we can only hope that that is in fact true. It was definitely a more productive call than we've had, or at least a more pleasant call, I should say, than we've had in the past. And that has clearly affected the stock. I mean, we've seen the stock do a massive jump over the last few days to, a high we haven't seen in a pretty long time.
17.
The close of business on
$18.
The end of the week was around then. So, what does that mean? My husband, who likes to trade, said to me, sell. Yeah, so who knows? He said it kind of has reached that mark. So we'll see. But it was exciting to see. Look, it's for us, it's definitely good to see when we know that things are on the right path and things looking up. So very happy, for the Peloton company from that perspective.
Yeah, overall positive. I think John Mills, Run, Lift, Live, he gave a good summary of the main highlights of it. The burn rate of cash, though, to me is crazy. Kind of how much cash they go through, just on for the whole business.
Right.
But overall, it's still positive. I like how he refers to Barry McCarthy as Uncle Barry.
I didn't know he did that. That's hysterical.
Yeah, Uncle Barry. Well, in other Peloton business news, this was touched on in the earning call. Peloton plans to keep Precor. So they couldn't get, seems like they couldn't get the asking price. They didn't want to, take a huge hit, but they revealed they no longer plan to sell the commercial fitness equipment company that they acquired back in 2021 for $420 million. In addition, the sale of Peloton Output Park, which would have been this massive facility where they would have manufactured and had corporate employees in Ohio, that has been delayed by about 6 months now. So in a published letter, and they touched on in the earnings call, they said, this past quarter, we expected to complete the restructuring of our manufacturing strategy by selling our Ohio facility, but that closing has been delayed by 6 months. We also had plans to sell Precor, but it turns out that the clearing price was significantly lower than we think it's worth. Precor meets a significant need in the commercial marketplace and is a well-regarded brand, but over the 2 years we've owned it, we've underinvested in its growth and leadership team to the detriment of Precor's revenue growth and profitability. So obviously they want to hang on and get a much better asking price for it.
Yeah.
So they said they maximize the value of the Precor investment by running Precor like a freestanding business, capitalizing on its many core strengths and leveraging the value it provides to owner-operators across the fitness industry. So we'll see, when they plan to get that off their books. But yeah, the Ohio Output Park, obviously, that's a massive sale, and it's a massive piece of land, and it was also partially finished. So I don't know
It's funny
who the potential buyer is.
I'm part of a group chat called the Powder Room, and
the Powder Room.
I'm going to give a shout out to the Powder Room. But it was funny because somebody actually said in there, they said that they should make the Output Park a Peloton retreat so that people could go and, get to try the row and get to make it into like a place where people can go and meet other Peloton members.
Destination.
A destination.
And do group rides in a big room.
And then who knows, maybe instructors pop in. But I thought that was such a cool idea. It's like, somewhere to go and meet your other fellow Peloton friends from all over the country or world or whatever. So, somebody should suggest that too there.
That would be appealing. Except for the fact that it's in Ohio.
I know. Don't say that.
No offense to Ohio folks.
Exactly. That's not nice, John. Ohio's lovely.
But we Michigan folks, we kind of look down on Ohio.
You rag on Ohio. Well, you do look down on Ohio, right? Because isn't Michigan just above Ohio?
Yeah, exactly.
So you do look down on them. No, Ohio's a lovely place. All right. So for those of you that have a Chase Sapphire credit card, make sure that you're using it when purchasing anything Peloton. It was just announced that between February the 1st and March 31st of 2025, as card members who have the reserve card, you'll receive 10 times the total points of any purchases over $250. And the Chase Sapphire Preferred members will receive 5 times the total points for the same over $250. So purchases will include the Bike Plus, the Tread, the Row, the Guide, any of the accessories. And you can earn up to a maximum of 50,000 points with the Reserve and 25,000 points with the Preferred. So definitely if you're planning on purchasing, if you're planning on purchasing anything and you're looking to rack up those points, it's a good time to use your card for sure.
Juicy. Well, shifting a little bit to software updates on the Peloton hardware, it seems that we had a little bit of an update to the Here Now leaderboard on-demand classes on the Treads, the Bike Plus, and the Row, but now it seems to have reverted back to normal, how it used to be. But in case you didn't notice, many members over the last several days had reported seeing a change with the latest software update that rolled out across the various hardware. Normally, when you would take an on-demand class from the library, if you toggle to the Here Now section to see who is on the class currently, in addition to members that had finished the class, it would be sort of grayed out. So if you were to say hi, and this was something that was really annoying for me, if you were to high five someone and you accidentally hit that, it would open up their profile in more detail, and then you'd kind of have to click back to go back to the leaderboard. For a few days, that seemed to go away. So when someone would complete the class, they would drop off from the leaderboard instead of just lingering there, even though that person had finished the ride or the strength class or the run, the row. But now it seems to have apparently switched back to that normal feed where the leaderboard would just keep increasing with folks that would finish the class in addition to the people that are currently actually in it, doing it on demand. There was no update from Peloton about it. I know a lot of folks seemed kind of like half and half. Some people liked seeing the folks remain there that had finished the class already, but they were sort of grayed out. Other folks really liked it because it kind of decluttered the Here Now section of the Here Now leaderboard. I didn't notice it on Wednesday. I took an on-demand Cody ride Wednesday morning, and the Here Now leaderboard was full of people that had already finished it. They weren't wiped off there, so it had already reverted back at that point.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But that is one. Wow. That is one of my main gripes. Where if you want to high five a lot of people, you can get tripped up if you accidentally hit someone. If you accidentally hit a profile of someone that's already completed it, it won't high five them. It'll just open up so you see their expanded stats for the class, and then you have to hit back, which is annoying if you're just if you want to just rapid fire high five a whole slew of folks on there. So maybe they're testing something out. I don't know, but it was nice for a few days for folks that did like that change.
Yeah, I like it. I wish they would. I wish they would make that a permanent thing. I think that would be good. It would be good. Well, maybe they're kind of working out the glitches in it. Who knows?
Working out the kinks.
Yeah. Well, remember when we shared that Matt Wilpers and Ash Pryor were out in San Diego, and they shared. We now know everything behind it, and the classes that were launched for the row, which were the Scenic guided rowing classes, are now available. So these were filmed out in Mission Bay, San Diego, California, and we got to see both Matt Wilpers and Ash Pryor on the water, actually rowing. And it was pretty cool to see. They posted some of the stuff of them, on social media of them actually rowing. Both instructors have 2 classes each, a 15-minute guided scenic row and a 20-minute guided scenic row. And some members have reported receiving a pop-up alert on their app, so that folks were being told that this was in fact now being, having been launched. So for those of you that prefer to do something that's more scenic and you're on the row, now you can get to do that. So that was really cool.
Yeah, and I haven't done one yet, but I clicked on the preview for one of Matt Wilpers' scenic rows. It was actually really cool. He's just out on the open water, and there's people, and he's not that close. He's not that far from shore, and it's just you just see people walking along the beach as he's giving he's looking to the right, to his right, like there's a boat following him along,
following him with the camera.
He's giving cues.
Right.
And I was kind of looking to see, does he have a tablet or something? It looked like he almost had like a tiny little screen attached to the side of his rowboat. I guess because I was looking where are his notes? As he gives cues out. But I thought it was pretty cool. So I'm definitely gonna.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been done. I haven't been able to row, and I haven't been near my row. But I would love to know how, because the concept doesn't seem similar. So I'd be curious to know, how it being on the actual hardware versus the water, what that looks like. You'll definitely have to try one for us so you can come back and tell us, because I would be kind of curious to see how that looks.
Yeah, because it's definitely a lot more involved than just say riding your bike in a scenic, he's having both arms and so.
Exactly.
A lot more things to keep track of, I guess, because he can easily go off in one direction when you're rowing along the, you have all these variables, in the ocean, out in the open water.
Right.
So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get some scenic stuff on the Hudson River or, Manhattan when it warms up. That would be interesting.
Very much so. Or the Potomac River. They can maybe come down to DC, and the Potomac River has tons of folks row on there, which would be a beautiful.
Lot less polluted compared to the Hudson.
Yeah.
Probably a lot less bodies in there.
Especially around cherry blossom, April, around cherry blossom time, because all the down on the embankment, there's the beautiful cherry blossom trees, and there's there are the monuments that are right down there. So it's actually very pretty. So that would be fun to see if they did that.
Well, we had a new artist series, as you mentioned a couple stories ago, Amanda. Nile Rodgers, the music of the Chic, is it Chic or Cheek co-founder?
Chic.
And legendary musician, record producer, and composer, Nile Rodgers. He's a 3-time Grammy winner, and he'll receive the Recording Academy's Lifetime Achievement Award this year. He's also a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee and the chairman of the Songwriters Hall of Fame. So the series launched this past Wednesday, the 1st. We got 4 classes from it across 3 modalities, and including one in German. As you mentioned, the Leanne's first live ride back after her announcement was her 30-minute Nile Rodgers ride from the first. We also had a 30-minute ride from Eric Jaeger. That was in German. And then we got a 30-minute run with Susie Chan and a 20-minute upper body strength with Maddie. And you will be happy to know, for the badge-hungry folks, there is a special Black History Month badge. It's not a Nile Rodgers badge. So thank you for that clarification. And a shameless plug to Chris Lewis and the PeloBuddy.com website. You can see a very comprehensive list of the many badges that are currently out there and badges of Peloton days of old. If you're curious to see, looking to add some new badges to your collection for ones that you can currently earn them on, be sure to go to PeloBuddy.com.
Yeah, so it's funny, John, because when I heard Nile Rodgers, I didn't really think. I was like, oh, who's Nile Rodgers? Of course, after doing Leanne's ride, the music that he was part of, whether he produced it or wrote it or sang sang in it, are all songs that take you back to your disco days. Some of the stories that Leanne had shared in her ride were pretty cool. So one of them was his song. Let me make sure I get it right. I think it was the Le Freak. So apparently he had worked. Was it Le Freak or? Now I'm going to get it wrong. I don't want to get it wrong. But she was talking about how he had gone into a club and they were turned away. And
the song Freak Out, and it was meant to be
out. It was supposed to be
they were meant to say fuck you.
Whatever. And he changed it, and it ended up becoming so famous, and he did so amazingly on it. But I mean, he has written music for so many incredible artists that I would listen to these songs, knew these songs my whole life, and had no idea. And then the other thing that was really sweet was that she shared her story about how she is a huge Nile Rodgers fan, and anybody that works out a lot with her knows that she loves her disco music and dance music, etc. And she said that she was at it was the James Bond premiere that she was at with Ben, and he was there, and it was like one of those celebrities that she absolutely had to see, and how she was all decked out, and she had these high heels on, and she was looked beautiful, and she was running after him to try and get a selfie with him, and he ended up walking away, and she goes, I hope he wasn't walking away from me. And then she proceeded to see him in the Royal Albert Hall, and she ran over to him, and she was like, I love you and whatever, and he took a very cool selfie with her, and she posted that on social media this past week. But it's always nice when they have a little bit of a history with the artist that they are doing the workout, whatever modality.
Yeah, a fun little backstory.
It's always nice
makes it more
to have
special.
that.
Yeah,
it does. So that was really cool to hear how she was like a little girl talking about her experience in meeting Nile Rodgers, and of course she looked stunning in the picture with him. But it was very cool to see.
Nice.
All right. So that moves us into the next story, which is about those extra 10 classes. So it's those. It seems that folks are absolutely loving those extra 10s. They were launched back in November last year, and in the earnings call, interestingly enough, on Wednesday morning, it stated that Peloton would be expanding the modalities of the extra 10 content, with many more being dropped. So for those of you that are unfamiliar, and I can't believe anyone could be unfamiliar with the extra 10s at this point, they don't contain a warm-up, and they are designed to, in fact, be stacked with other workouts. So they are in fact housed in a dedicated Peloton collection, and they are there for walks, runs, hikes, rides, strength classes. And they were talking about actually really expanding it into like specific where they do Tabata or they do HIIT. But folks are loving them and people are really enjoying doing these extra 10 classes. So for those of you that are looking to stack those classes, it's a great way to get to do it.
Nice. And February is Black History Month. So Peloton will be celebrating through the entire month of February with special Black History BHM classes throughout the entire month. There is also, it was just announced on this past Thursday, Amanda, that there will be a virtual event hosted by Tunde. Emails went out on Thursday to certain members. It's called The Power of Community, a conversation on mental wellness and anti-racism. And it's taking place on Wednesday, February 15th at 3:15 in the afternoon Eastern time. The description, it says, the discussion will delve into the ways in which systematic racism affects mental health and share ways for individuals and communities to work, to work toward greater healing and equity. They say, don't miss this opportunity to learn, grow, and be inspired to create more just and mentally healthy world. So we'll share more details if we have a link so we can you can view it. We'll obviously provide that as we get more detail.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing the artists. I'm sure each week there'll be amazing artist series that will be launched, in conjunction with Black History Month, which is always fun to see. So that'll be fantastic. All right. So are you one of the lucky few that received the invitation to attend yet another private event? This one will be at PSL, Peloton Studios, London. An invitation was sent to members inviting them to attend the opening of the new retail space that will be adjacent to Peloton Studios, London. The event will be held on Thursday, February the 23rd, from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And the dress code is described as smart casual. And there is a note to be sure to show up in your best sparkle. You never know who might show up. So, of course, we're all buzzing. Is this suggesting that maybe our favorite Leanne Hainsby could be attending the event? Because everybody knows that she sparkles wherever she goes. Members are instructed to RSVP to reserve their spot. And there was a note, though, that the invite is non-transferable, unless perhaps you're John Pruitt and you're going to be in London when the event's happening and you're going to go. So, no question, John Pruitt has to be there.
Well, hopefully I get in there. I've yet to receive an invitation, so
all right. Well,
hopefully I can finagle. Yeah, hopefully I can finagle one.
We'll make sure. I mean, come on, you have to be there. You have to.
Or I'll just be lingering outside, pacing back and forth outside the window there.
Waiting, exactly.
Yeah, to get a look.
I love that.
Creeping.
I love that.
Well, so perfect timing.
Right, exactly. But if you remember back in August of 2022, we had actually first reported that PSL was in fact expanding and that plans included this retail store. So it seems, folks, that yet again, you can say HIHF, but that we did tell you that something was going to be happening. But yeah,
is this a ground floor retail space that will be like street level? You've been there before? Okay, yeah.
I have been there, but it was all boarded up. It was all boarded up, but yes, we got confirmation that it is in fact a ground floor entry, and I do believe that there will be access from the store to the studio, similar to
PSNY.
Kind of like,
gotcha.
Exactly. But my understanding, It's going to be a little bit bigger. So it's going to actually be because PSNY have the big, have the flagship store just in the courtyard. So I think this may be a little bit bigger, but very fun and something exciting to pick up, hopefully special stuff. So that was
Well, I don't have any plans that Thursday, so this would work perfectly and fit perfectly into my social calendar that day.
We'll make sure you're there. We'll make sure you're there. Absolutely. Take it that it's done. Check. John Pruitt will be attending. All right. And then in just some other quick news, if you were frustrated back on Sunday the 29th in not being able to get on a class, it does seem that Peloton reported that they were having technical issues, which was a result of an outage at the studio. So the problem was resolved that afternoon, but the issue started in Ross Rayburn's live yoga, which prompted Peloton to then go ahead and cancel Tunde's cycling class as well as Christine Derklay's class. The outage, however, did not impact any of the on-demand classes. So folks were still able to jump on and do on-demand classes. And from what I know Maddie spoke about the fact that his class was impacted, but that did make it into the library. So they didn't actually cancel Maddie's class, but that he actually did make it in there. So I'm almost sure that was part of the outage as well.
All right. Well, there's a new ad campaign. I don't know if you've had a chance for our members who are local to Manhattan, to the New York City area, probably have seen it on some building walls. It seems to be prominently featured on. But Peloton just launched a new advertising campaign in New York City. They first shared images of it via Instagram. And the out-of-home advertising campaign is displayed on buildings throughout Manhattan, each with the same initial message from an individual referred to as @GlowMD. The message states, "I thought Peloton was just cycling. Y'all need to do a better job at advertising all the other disciplines." And then there's 5 different responses in the ads to that message, to that question, each highlighting some of the different modalities and music themes that Peloton offers that people may not know about. So one would be, would it help if we had trap runs here? Another is, dang, okay, we'll bring up metal shadow boxing more often. Third one is, good point, we also have Bacata upper body strength classes you can take. The fourth one is, you're right, this ad should say we have Afrobeats bar classes. And the last and fifth one is, good idea, we'll tell more people about our gospel walks. So far in 23, Peloton has been focused on spreading awareness that they're not just a cycling company, trying to dispel a lot of misperceptions that a lot of folks might not have that are not as familiar with the fitness company. The New Year's ad was called It's Not What You Think, and it calls out a couple of common preconceived notions about Peloton and highlights the tread and the row. Note that only some of the versions of the ad highlight the row, so that's rather limited to the references to the new Peloton row. I don't seem to be a big fan of this one, and it seems like most people didn't seem to like it that I saw on social media, especially, I don't know if it was just a lot of Peloton OGs, a lot of really early members that have been with the company from the beginning, but it just didn't hit with me. I don't know.
Yeah, I have to say I wasn't overly impressed with it either. It didn't. It didn't seem. For me, it was just kind of blah. I like the idea of being up there on a wall, but the actual the verbiage of what they used,
the
I
messaging,
wasn't overly impressed. Yeah, the messaging. Thank you. Well, I wasn't overly impressed with. All right.
Yeah, kind of a miss for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we will move straight into our instructor in the news portion. And I will hit it off. Whilst this isn't really an instructor in the news piece, it is one that we did want to share with the community. So Mums of Peloton first reported and shared a news clip that a Peloton group left a $4,600 tip at a Plymouth restaurant in a sheer act of kindness. So the Wicked Smat Zone, a New England Facebook group of Peloton members, met for a Sunday morning breakfast at Tavern on the Wharf in Plymouth and had already arranged that they were going to pay it forward to the staff in the restaurant. The breakfast, which was organized by Josh Vernon, who started the Wicked Smat group, said that it made everyone just feel so good that they couldn't wait to get there that day. So there were a group of folks that have grown over the years. They did something similar back in 2021 or 2022, and they are just trying to get out there and show the level of communityship, is that a word, that the community has to offer. It is so what was said was one of the comments was server Megan Oliveira said, when counting the cash, she first saw the hundreds, then there were 20s, and she said then there were just tears, and more tears. Megan, who is in fact a single mom with 2 little girls, says that the rent was due just 2 days later, and it was the most heartwarming, incredible thing that has ever happened to her. In addition to those at the table, there were more than 100 members who had chipped in for the tip previously. So such an amazing feel-good story. I've been chatting to Josh and since this happened, because I've just been blown away. And I hope that certainly by us sharing it here on the show, by Chris sharing it, people will do more good in the world. And that's truly what we need. So I love that there's a Peloton camaraderie as part of this feel-good story, and that it's through a Peloton group of members that all came together. But what an amazing feel-good story. So huge kudos to Josh Vernon and to the Wicked Smat group for
it's
doing
wicked.
This. Amazing.
It's wicked smart. Wicked smart.
Because
like wicked smart.
Well, okay, that's the South African accent with the New England accent.
You're like
don't
wicked
go
smart.
Together.
I'm pretty sure they're saying wicked smart.
Wicked smart. I love it. Thank you for correcting me, because I would never have said it quite like that.
I love those kinds of heartwarming stories. I can never get enough
Amazing.
of those. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, shifting gears a little bit, Cody was a recent guest. He was actually a returning guest. He'd been on this podcast before a couple years back, early in the pandemic, I believe, on the podcast called Ask Rona. It was fun because it wasn't the usual, talk about your upbringing, how you got to Peloton. It was kind of just like, oh, we got Cody back. Let's have some fun. They answered questions that listeners submit, about career advice, about, an annoying mom taking her on a vacation. Cody did talk about his mother a little bit, when he moved her up from South Carolina. He initially set her up in New Jersey and then bought her a place in Brooklyn, in Williamsburg, pretty close to him. But it's just another fun podcast. He's been on a couple really good ones recently, on the Barstool. I think it was the Mean Girls podcast. And then he was on one of my favorite ones, the Las Culturistas podcast. That was really funny, where they were just riffing on pop culture. So he really has some entertaining podcast appearances, especially these last few ones that he's done. It's on Spotify. That's where I listened to it. He had linked it in his Instagram stories earlier in the week. So definitely that a listen.
All right. And last up, this week's guest on Ali on the Run was the absolutely amazing Susie Chan. Susie reminds listeners to never forget where they started. She says, nobody is born running a mile. We all have to work for it. So never forget those first few steps. Keep up the faith. And then one day you'll go out and you'll feel like you're flying. On the podcast, Susie shares that how how in her mid-30s, she was a cigarette-smoking single mom who was working as an exhibitions coordinator for an art gallery and museum. And she said that the word running was definitely not in her vocabulary. Her brother had convinced her to run a half marathon. And she said at that point, everything changed. Now at 47, she's known as one of the best known runners and ultra runners in the UK. In the podcast, she talks about the different races she's done, how she's dealt with some pretty dark times during races. She talks about her training and how she balances her own training with her Peloton classes. She also shares how she got her Peloton job. So definitely a podcast not to be missed. She's wonderful to listen to. She's funny when you'd least expect her to be. And it's just a fantastic, fantastic podcast. So definitely take the time to take a listen to that one.
And an interesting revelation that she was a cigarette smoker.
Yes. And
then
isn't that
becoming
funny?
a runner. It's like total opposites. Just do not
Total
mix,
opposites. But I love, and I mean, okay, she didn't just become a runner. I mean, she became a maniac.
Yeah.
She's a maniac runner. But amazing story. Amazing. So really fun podcast. And you can certainly catch it off pelobuddy.com or as John says, any of the podcast platforms that you get your podcasts from. So yeah.
All right, well, that wraps up.
All right.
Instructors in the news. Let's go right into the picks of the week, and I'll take the lead on the first few. And Matt Wilpers, 15-minute premier row from the 26. Sue T27 gave us this one. She said, is there anything Matt can't do? If you like him on the bike or tread, you'll love his rowing classes too. Bring on the Pelo Triathlon. And then next up is Kendall's 20-minute Tabata ride from the 26. Our friend Daisy Mack gave us this one. She says Tabata every week. Tough but great design on this one. And then Emma's 5-minute core strength from the 27th. Got that from Jenna Ann 116 and SC Rubies. They said good quick burner, hit all the areas.
All right. And then next up was one that was recommended by a ton of members. So thank you so much. We got this from Cuppa Noodles 83, Judith STL, Midwife Lexi, J Ump N Jiven, and HR Goddess. It was Katie Wong's 15-minute premier row from Friday, the 27th at 7:30 p.m. Get to know the newest Pelo Cat mom. She'll change you, make you laugh, and will make the workout fly by. She has so much energy and passion, and her personality is so magnetic. The class flew by and was hands down the best one of the 5. She also shared a personal story, and you really got to see who she was. So, wow, that's an amazing endorsement for that particular class. Awesome. All right. Cliff Dwenger, 30-minute 2000s pop ride in English. So if you're looking for a Cliff class in English, this one was from the 28th, Saturday the 28th at 5 a.m. Eastern. The Twin Mom and Mama 2.1, they said, I never rode with him before and will take more with him from now on. He has great energy, is motivational, awesome playlist, and keeps you engaged. And then Matty Majacomo, his 30-minute 90s pop walk. This one was recommended by Pasta Lover Amy, Claire Hastine, and Megan ML. They said, love the 90s nostalgia and the never have I ever game, and Maddie bringing up the pasta.
Yeah, the penis pasta.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. I posted. Oh my God. He has been so funny in his workouts lately. It's crazy.
I posted that penis pasta clip on Instagram, and I got like a community violation from Instagram on that one.
Oh my goodness.
Because penis is mentioned.
They don't want you to say that.
Yeah, it wasn't eligible for whatever monetization. All right. Cody's 45-minute 90s ride. This one was fun. It was this past Saturday morning, the 28th. I did this one live, and it's been a minute since Cody doesn't do a lot of 45-minute rides, so it's a real fun treat when he does the longer than, the 30-minute typical ride time. Lisa Calloway and Amajar 3 gave us this one. They said, honestly, I enjoyed it so much I forgot what day it was. So good. And the playlist was interesting on this one because it was a divas ride, but it was with the 3 ultimate divas, as Cody describes. It was all music by Mariah, Whitney Houston, and Celine Dion. So he said, if you're turned off by that, you can go find one of my other classes, because it was just all their music. But still a lot of great moments. And I don't know about you, but Cody his classes have definitely been leaning more on the harder side lately. So
he's riding them now?
I've definitely noticed. He's right. He's definitely working you harder on the bike, even when he's having his dance moments. But this one was still fun, despite, if you're not really so into Whitney, Mariah, and Celine. It was still a great class.
Who cannot be into Whitney, Mariah, and Celine? I mean, come on.
Yeah, Mariah, I like the other 2. Yeah, he said he was trying to figure out how to put in My Heart Will Go On theme from the Titanic by Celine, but he just couldn't seem to work it in there. It wouldn't fit. Anyway, moving on, Olivia's 30-minute intervals run from the 28th. Mandy Rose MN said, great music, solid workout, and awesome coaching. And then staying on the tread, Dr. Devon gave us Jocelyn Thompson Rule's 30-minute hit run from the 29th. They said hard AF, but awesome programming.
That's too funny. All right. Rebecca Kennedy's 20-minute strength roll call. It was a full body from the 30th, 7:30 a.m. We got Darcy 79, Mama 2, MF Boys, and Lauren Nisbeth 13 all recommended it. They said, this one kicked my butt, still sore today. Anna Greenberg, it is so lovely to have her back on the platform live. She did a 30-minute evening slow flow on the 30th. It was at 6:30 p.m. It was recommended by Born to Bhangra and Amajar 3. They said perfect coaching to wind down a bit and a little bit active. And then Jen Sherman, a 30-minute low impact ride from the 31st. It was at 10 a.m. It was recommended by Cara McMitch and our friend, Pelo Jennifer. She's now our friend, John.
My friend.
They said the music, she'd love the fact that we fight over her. She's adorable. I absolutely love her.
She loves getting mentioned on Pelo Buddy now.
They said the music and structure were just perfect to kickstart a Wednesday. And do you know anything, John, that we don't know? What's going on with Jen? She's off the live schedule for the next few weeks.
So she did an early morning. Yeah, she's apparently is going to be attending the Super Bowl because she was supposed to teach next Saturday. That class got canceled. Because she went to the Eagles game, where the Eagles won the AFC or NFC championship over the 49ers. She was on the field before the game. But, and that's why she taught, I guess, at 8 a.m. last Sunday morning as opposed to her normal later morning time slot. But she was just in Miami on Wednesday night because she was posting from the Bruce Springsteen, or Tampa. I think it was Tampa. That Bruce Springsteen played a concert. So she was just at the concert. So, she hasn't really been, she's had a lot of vacations lately and she hasn't really been on the schedule. But I will say it's really disappointing we did not get a football ride series this year. This is the first year since she started doing her pregame football rides that she didn't do it. The last couple of years, she would do it really late into the football season. She might only do maybe 2 rides or 3 in the series, but we didn't get it at all this year, which was kind of a bummer because those rides are known as the harder rides, and a lot of folks really enjoy them. I love them. So that was kind of. I was
bummed though because the reason I brought it up because I was actually scheduled to be in studio with her next Friday, and that class was is going to be subbed. She cancelled.
Yeah.
So So I was bummed because I was looking forward to being in studio with her. So I was just curious if you knew something. But let's just move right along to continuing with the Speaks of the Week.
So next up, Cinco, our friend Tony Sigginson gave us Mila Lazar's 20-minute dance music ride from the 31st. Tony said, simply fabulous energy and great playlist. And then Kira Michelle's 10-minute focus flow, healthy back from the 31st. Books, Bikes, Beers, and Kira's Koalas gave us this one. They said, great workout to unstress after a long day of work. And then Adrian, his 30-minute hip-hop row boot camp. That was the first actual live row boot camp class that he did on the evening of the 31st. Strong as a Mother gave us this one. She said, perfect mix of typical Adrian, fresh hell, parentheses, burpees, plus new row energy.
Awesome. All right. And then this one had to be a pick of the week. It was definitely my pick of the week, together with a slew of members. So I will read out everybody's names in a minute. But of course, it was Leanne's 30-minute Nile Rodgers ride back from Wednesday, the 1st of February at 8:30 a.m. I was in good company with a pup named Panda, Deb Cohen, Courtney Mulson. Her name is Rio 12, Not Kark Mark, Kiki Kit, Pedal Through This, Strong Mama Laura, Fit Mom Doc Jen, Dark Angel 4066, Jody Lucy, Care Blue, Jax ATX, and Shan Spins. My goodness, her sparkle, that playlist, and I think my heart grew seeing all the members supporting her. It was perfect.
She's that the most? Chris Lewis probably knows. Is that the most people that have been on a live Leanne ride to date? Over 8,000?
I believe so, on a Leanne ride for sure. Yeah, I mean, there were 7,000 and something, 7,000 like they were on the bike, and then I guess the other 1,000 must have been app, because it didn't show up for me as app users. But Ben had posted that there were 8,000 something on the ride, and I mean as of recording, we were close to 30,000 people that have taken the ride. So pretty impressive, I would say, in 2 days. I mean, we record early. So in just 2 days that there are almost 30,000 people that have taken that ride is pretty impressive. But it was truly, I mean, I won't go into more detail because I went into so much already. So we'll just move on, but definitely an amazing pick. And then Christine Derkley's 30-minute Power Zone Max Ride, also from the 1st. It was at 10 a.m. Good Trouble BK recommended this one. They said, great coaching to push you as far as you can go. And then Jess Sims, her Flash 15 Strength, also from the 1st. It was at 10 a.m. Toll 9 said, you can't go wrong with these Flash 15 classes from Jess.
All right. And Robin's 30-minute Tabata ride from the 1st. Sunshine Girl AZ, Prosecco Mommy 87 gave us this one. They said, killer, all yellow, but so rewarding. It pushed me to the brink, but felt so good. And then Susie Chan's 30-minute Nile Rodgers run, also from the 1st. Cinco and Dr. Devin gave us this one. They said the playlist was awesome, and so was Susie. Loved it. And next up, Camilla Ramon's 20-minute pop punk ride. I did this one live, actually. It was on the afternoon of the 1st. We got this from Alana Ford, Lilo on the Pelo, Good Olgul Gunderson, Pelo for Cafecitos. They said great playlist and fun class. And that wraps up the picks of the week.
Rounds up the picks of the week. Absolutely. Well, a lot for you guys. This was a good one. I don't know. I felt good about this show. I think we, I love that we got to share, Leanne's story. I love that there are just some good feel-good stories out there. I love that Peloton is doing well, that the stock is going up. It was just a good episode. Lots of good things to report.
Not the typical negative stuff that we sometimes have to report on.
That we have to sometimes report in. Extra 10 classes, which I love. I mean, there was just a mix of fabulous stuff that we shared.
we got live rowing is finally here. Live rowing classes in the evening and the early morning.
Rowing classes, scenic classes.
I said I was pretty much going to get up every day this week at 6 a.m. and do one of the live row classes, and I did not. I am very ashamed to say that I hit the snooze this whole week, so I'm putting it out there into the world to manifest it next week. I'm going to get my ass up and do some of those 6 a.m.
But you know what?
rows.
It's been freezing, right? Hasn't it been freezing in
it's easy to say. Yeah, it's easy to say hunkered down. It's 33 right now and sunny. That's not too bad, but it was 10 degrees, 7 degrees overnight. So, it's been a little chilly.
Crazy. All right, folks. Well, we will wrap it up. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to listen, to watch us, to get to hear what has been going on in the Pelo world for yet another week. And we look forward to seeing you back here, same place next week. So for me here, bye for now, everybody.
And for me here in Michigan, appreciate you tuning in from all over. And as always, we will see you on the leaderboard.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available so that you can listen to us while on the move. Just search for Pelo Buddy TV on any major platform and hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.